The news cycle was relentless. For 2 weeks straight, Phoebe couldn't escape the headlines. Kong brothers baby mama drama. Designer Phoebe Mensah, gold digger or victim? From one brother's bed to another. The shocking truth. Amma had threatened to physically fight 3 different reporters who'd shown up at the boutique. Phoebe's mother had called from London, alternating between concern and disapproval. And her social media was a war zone of opinions. Some supporting her, others calling her every degrading name imaginable. But through it all, Juno stayed, steady as a rock, weathering the storm beside her. He'd moved some of his things into her apartment. Not officially living together, but close enough that he could be there when the morning sickness hit at 3 a.m., when she woke up crying from stressed dreams, when she just needed someone to hold her and tell her everything would be okay. Miho, meanwhile, had gone radio silent. No texts, no calls, no surprise visits with Soup. Just silence. It should have been a relief. Instead, it made Phoebe anxious. Miho was never quiet unless he was planning something. She found out 3 weeks after the hotel opening. She was at her boutique, reviewing the new maternity line she'd been designing, luxury pieces for pregnant women who refused to sacrifice style for comfort. Amma was helping her drape fabric on a dress form when Phoebe's phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Mensah. The voice was female, professional, speaking in accented English. This is Attorney Park Min-ji. I represent Kong Miho regarding custodial matters concerning your unborn child. Phoebe's blood ran cold. Excuse me, Mr. Kong has asked me to begin drafting a custody agreement. He'd like to meet with you and your legal representation to discuss terms before the baby is born. He's prepared to be very generous regarding child support and... He's what? Phoebe could barely breathe. He's suing me for custody? Not suing Ms. Mensah. Simply establishing legal parameters for... Phoebe hung up. Her hands were shaking so badly she nearly dropped her phone. What happened? Amma was at her side immediately. Phoebe, you're pale. Sit down. She couldn't even form the words. Miho, he's getting lawyers. For custody. Of our baby who isn't even born yet. That son of a... Amma was already pulling out her own phone. I'm calling our lawyer. And then I'm going to that entitled asshole's house and... No. Phoebe's voice was surprisingly steady now that the initial shock had worn off. I'll handle this. She called Juno first. He answered on the first ring. Your brother just had his lawyer call me about custody, she said without preamble. Did you know about this? What? No. Phoebe, I swear. She heard movement, the slam of a door. Where are you? My boutique. Stay there. I'm coming. He arrived 20 minutes later, fury evident in every line of his body. I just talked to Miho. He says he's protecting his rights as a father. By threatening me with lawyers? By being a vindictive asshole who can't stand that you chose me. Juno's jaw was tight. This is about punishing you, not protecting the baby. Can he really do this? Take my baby? No. Juno took her hands, his grip firm and reassuring. Korean courts favor mothers, especially for infants. And you're a successful businesswoman with no history of anything that would make you an unfit parent. He's posturing, trying to scare you. Well, it's working. Phoebe hated how small her voice sounded. We fight back. Juno's eyes were hard. We get you the best family lawyer in Seoul. We document everything, every missed call Miho ignored, every time he was absent when he should have been present. We show the court exactly who the reliable parent is. Over the next week, Phoebe found herself deep in the legal system she'd hoped to avoid. Her lawyer, a sharp woman named Kim Ji-won who specialized in high-profile custody cases, was confident but realistic. Mr. Kong has money and family influence, Attorney Kim explained. But you have a strong case. You're the mother, you're financially independent, you're building a stable home environment. The relationship with Mr. Kong Juno will be scrutinized. But since you're not married and he's not claiming parental rights, it shouldn't be a major factor. What does Miho want? Phoebe asked. Really? Joint custody, 50-50 split once the child is weaned. Significant input on medical decisions, education, religious upbringing. Essentially, he wants equal say in everything. That's not unreasonable, Phoebe said slowly. If he was actually interested in being a father. But this isn't about the baby. This is about control. Probably, Attorney Kim agreed, which is why we're going to propose a different arrangement. You as primary custodial parent, him with generous visitation rights that increase as the child gets older. He pays child support, he gets input on major decisions, but you have final say. It's fair and protects both the child's interests and your autonomy as a mother. The custody negotiations were scheduled for the following week. Miho would be there with his lawyer. Juno had offered to come for support, but Phoebe declined. This was between her and Miho. Juno's presence would only complicate things. The meeting was in a neutral law office in Gangnam. Phoebe dressed in one of her own designs, a maternity dress that managed to be both professional and unmistakably pregnant. She was 16 weeks now, her belly round and obvious. She wanted Miho to see what he was really fighting for, not a concept or a point to win, but an actual baby. Their baby. Miho arrived with his lawyer and, surprisingly, his father. The elder Kong looked every bit the corporate titan, his expression severe as he surveyed Phoebe. "Ms. Mensah," he said with a curt nod. "Shall we begin?" The negotiations were brutal. Miho wanted everything, equal time, equal decision-making, his name on the birth certificate without conditions. He wanted the baby to have the Kong surname, to be raised speaking Korean first, to be baptized in his family's church. "And what about me?" Phoebe finally snapped, 2 hours into the discussion. "What about what I want? I'm the one carrying this baby. I'm the one who's been sick for 4 months. I'm the one whose body is changing, whose career is being affected, whose entire life is being reorganized. And you want to waltz in and demand equal say in everything. It's my child too," Miho said, his voice tight. "Then where were you?" Phoebe stood up, her chair scraping back. "Where were you when I was throwing up 4 times a day? When I was so exhausted I could barely stand? When the morning sickness was so bad I couldn't work for a week? You told me you didn't need my help. I told you I didn't need you to fix everything. There's a difference between helping and controlling." She pressed her hands to her belly, feeling the baby move. The first real kicks she'd felt that morning. "You made me a bet, Miho. You used me. You broke my trust so completely that I can't even look at you without remembering that. And now you want me to share custody equally, like we're partners? We're not partners. We're 2 people who made a mistake. Our baby isn't a mistake." Miho's voice cracked. "No, the baby isn't a mistake. But us? We were." Phoebe sat back down, suddenly exhausted. "I'm not trying to keep you from your child. I want you to be involved. But on my terms, not yours. Because I'm the one who has to live with the consequences of trusting you." Miho's father leaned forward. "Ms. Mensah, my son has made errors in judgment, but he is still a Kong. That child you're carrying is a Kong heir. They will want for nothing, except a mother who has autonomy over her own child." Phoebe met the older man's gaze without flinching. "I don't care about your money or your name or your influence. I care about raising a healthy, happy child. And I can do that with or without your family's involvement." The meeting ended without agreement. Attorney Kim scheduled a follow-up for the next week. But as Phoebe left the building, she felt defeated. This was going to be her life now. Fighting with Miho over every decision, every holiday, every milestone. She was sitting in her car, trying not to cry, when someone knocked on her window. "Miho." She almost didn't roll it down, but something in his expression made her pause. He looked broken. "I'm sorry," he said before she could speak. "You're right, about all of it. I've been trying to control this situation because I'm terrified of losing you both. The baby and you. You can't lose what you never really had. I know." He swallowed hard. "But I'm trying to change that. Not for a bet, not for my pride. Because I genuinely want to be a good father. And I'm realizing that means putting what you need first. What the baby needs first." Phoebe studied his face. He looked sincere, but she thought he looked sincere before too. "Then drop the custody fight," she said. "Agree to my terms. Prove you trust me to do what's best for our child. What if you don't let me see them? What if you move back to London or Ghana or—" "I won't. I'm building a life here in Seoul. My business is here. I'm not going anywhere." She put her hand on her belly, feeling another kick. "But I need to know you trust me. That this isn't about winning or controlling or getting back at me for being with Juno. Miho flinched at his brother's name. I hate that you chose him. I know. But I understand why. He looked away. He's better than me. Always has been. More patient. More thoughtful. More everything. This isn't a competition. Isn't it? Miho's laugh was bitter. Our whole lives have been a competition. For our father's approval, for success, for everything. And I always thought I was winning because I was the favorite, the charming one. But Juno won the only thing that really mattered. He won you. No one won me. I'm not a prize. Phoebe softened slightly. Miho, you could have had me. You had me. But you threw it away for a bet and your ego. Juno didn't win me. You lost me. There's a difference. Can I ever get you back? The question hung in the air. Phoebe thought about it, really thought about it. Could she ever forgive Miho enough to be with him again? Could she ever trust him? I don't know, she said honestly. Right now, I don't think so. But maybe someday, when the hurt isn't so fresh, we can be friends. For the baby's sake. Friends. Miho tested the word. It's not what I want, but it's better than enemies. Much better than enemies. He nodded slowly. Okay, I'll tell my lawyer to accept your terms. Primary custody to you, visitation for me. We'll work out the details, but I won't fight you anymore. Thank you. Can I? He gestured to her belly. Can I feel? The baby? Phoebe hesitated, then nodded. Miho's hand was warm through her dress, gentle as he pressed against her belly. Right on cue, the baby kicked. Miho's face transformed. Was that your baby saying hello? Despite everything, Phoebe smiled. They've been active today. They? Miho's eyes lit up. Do you know the gender? Not yet. I find out next week at my anatomy scan. Can I come? To the appointment. Phoebe thought about it. This was the kind of thing co-parents did, attended medical appointments together, shared in the milestones. And if they were going to make this work, she needed to start somewhere. Yes, she said. You can come. The relief on Miho's face was palpable. Thank you, Phoebe, for giving me a chance. I won't waste it. After he left, Phoebe sat in her car for a long time, processing everything. Then she called Juno. How did it go? He asked immediately. Better than expected. He's dropping the custody fight. We're going to try to co-parent like adults. That's good. Really good. Juno paused. How do you feel about it? Honestly? Relieved. Scared. Hopeful. She laughed. All the emotions at once. I think it's becoming my permanent state. I'm proud of you. For standing up to him, to his father. For not backing down. I had a good teacher. Phoebe smiled. Your mother sounds like she was an incredible woman. She was. And she would have loved you. His voice went soft. Are you coming home soon? I'm making dinner. Home. When had her apartment become home to both of them? But it felt right. Natural. I'll be there in 30 minutes. Drive safe. Both of you. Phoebe hung up, hand on her belly. Did you hear that, baby? We're going home. The anatomy scan appointment was scheduled for Thursday afternoon. Phoebe had debated whether to invite Juno, but ultimately decided this should be just her and Miho. They needed to build their co-parenting relationship, and that meant having moments together as the baby's parents. Juno understood, even though she could see it hurt him a little. This is important, he said that morning over breakfast. You and Miho need to figure out how to work together. You're too understanding. It's annoying. He laughed. Would you prefer if I threw a jealous tantrum? God, no. I've had enough drama to last a lifetime. Miho was waiting in the clinic lobby when she arrived, holding 2 cups of something hot. He offered her one. Ginger tea. I remember you like it. Thank you. She accepted it, and they sat in awkward silence until her name was called. The ultrasound technician was different this time. A young man who chattered cheerfully as he squirted gel on Phoebe's now prominent belly. The baby appeared on screen immediately, so much bigger than last time. Phoebe could see fingers and toes, the curve of the spine, the profile of a face. Everything looks perfect, the technician said. Heart, brain, all the organs developing normally. Great measurements. Would you like to know the gender? Phoebe and Miho looked at each other. Yes, they said in unison. It's a girl. The technician pointed to the screen. See here? Definitely a girl. Congratulations. A girl. Phoebe was having a daughter. She felt tears streaming down her face before she even realized she was crying. A girl, Miho whispered, and his voice was choked with emotion. We're having a daughter. He grabbed Phoebe's hand and she let him, both of them staring at the screen as their daughter moved and kicked and existed so perfectly. She's beautiful, Miho said, just like her mother. After the appointment, they sat in Miho's car in the parking lot, both still processing. Do you have name ideas? Miho asked. A few. I like Amma after my best friend. Or Abina, for a Tuesday baby. Phoebe touched her belly. But I want to incorporate Korean too. Something that works in both languages. Abina Mina, Miho suggested. Mina is Korean for truth. Abina Mina Kong. Or Mensa Kong, Phoebe corrected. Hyphenated, right? Of course. Miho was quiet for a moment. Phoebe, can I ask you something? You can ask. I might not answer. Are you happy? With Juno? The question surprised her. Why? Because if you're not, if there's any chance that you and I could... He stopped himself. Never mind. Forget I asked. I am happy, Phoebe said gently. Juno makes me happy. He treats me with respect. He supports my dreams. He doesn't try to control me. He's what I needed. And I wasn't. No, you weren't. She turned to look at him. But that doesn't mean you can't be a wonderful father to our daughter. Those are separate things. I'm going to be, Miho said fiercely. I'm going to be the best father I can be. She's going to know she's loved, that she's wanted, that she can count on me. Good. Phoebe gathered her things. I should go. Juno's expecting me for dinner. Of course. Tell him. Miho stopped. Actually, don't tell him anything from me. I don't think we're at the civil messaging stage yet. Baby steps, Phoebe agreed. That evening, she showed Juno the ultrasound pictures. He studied them with a soft expression. A girl, he murmured. You're having a daughter. We're having a daughter. The words slipped out before Phoebe could stop them, and she saw Juno's eyes snap to hers. I mean, not like, I just meant. I know what you meant. Juno's hand covered hers. And I'm honored to be part of this, to be part of her life. Even if I'm not her biological father. You'll be more than that. Phoebe was surprised by how certain she sounded. You'll be the man who's there every day, who reads her bedtime stories and makes her breakfast and teaches her to be brave. And Miho will be her father, but you'll be her family too. She kissed him softly. If that's what you want. It's everything I want. They stayed like that for a long moment, Juno's hand on her belly, both of them thinking about the tiny girl who would change all their lives. Have you thought about names? Juno asked eventually. Miho suggested Abina Mina. I like it. It's beautiful. He smiled. Strong. Like her mother. That night, Phoebe lay in bed with Juno's arm around her, his hand resting on her belly. She thought about the complicated family they were creating, her, Juno, Miho, and now Abina. It wasn't traditional. It definitely wasn't simple. But maybe, just maybe, it could work. Good night, Abina, she whispered to her belly. Your life is going to be interesting, baby girl. But you're going to be so loved. And really, wasn't that what mattered most? At 24 weeks pregnant, Phoebe was undeniably showing. Her belly had popped seemingly overnight, and she'd fully embraced the maternity where she'd been designing. Today she wore a custom silk wrap dress in burgundy that made her skin glow, her baby bump on full display. Amma had insisted on throwing her a baby shower, despite Phoebe's protests that it would be awkward given the situation. But Amma was nothing if not determined. Listen, bestie, Amma had said, hands on hips. You're having a baby. That baby deserves to be celebrated. I don't care about the drama. We're doing this. So here Phoebe was, in a private room at one of Gangnam's trendiest restaurants, surrounded by friends, clients, and a few carefully selected family members. The room was decorated in soft pink and gold, with a gorgeous cake shaped like a baby onesie. Juno had offered to make himself scarce for the day, but Phoebe had insisted he come. You're part of this, she told him. You're part of her life. People need to get used to it. What she hadn't expected was for Miho to show up. He appeared in the doorway halfway through the party, holding an enormous wrapped box. The room went silent. Every conversation stopped. Every eye turned to watch what would happen. "I know I wasn't invited," Miho said, his gaze finding Phoebe across the room. "But she's my daughter too. I wanted to bring her a gift." Phoebe felt Juno tense beside her. She put a hand on his arm. "Wait, let me handle this." "You can stay," she said carefully. "But Miho, if you cause a scene, I won't. I promise." He moved into the room, setting the box on the gift table. "I'll just drop this off and go." But of course, Miho's aunt chose that moment to arrive. Mrs. Kong was a force of nature. Elegant, imperious, and clearly unhappy about everything that had transpired over the past few months. She swept into the room like she owned it, took one look at the situation, and her face went cold. "Miho," she said sharply in Korean, "what are you doing here?" "Supporting the mother of my child," Miho replied in English, making sure everyone could understand. "And you?" Mrs. Kong turned to Juno, her eyes like chips of ice. "Have you no shame? Stealing your brother's woman while she carries his child." "Aunt," Juno started, but Phoebe cut him off. "I'm not anyone's woman," she said, standing up with some difficulty. Her center of gravity was completely different now. "I'm my own person, and I chose to be with Juno because he treats me with respect." "Respect?" Mrs. Kang's laugh was harsh. "Is that what we're calling it? You moved from one brother to another like what?" Phoebe's voice went dangerously quiet. "Say it. Whatever you're thinking, say it." The room held its breath. Mrs. Kang's lips pressed into a thin line. "You're not good enough for either of my nephews," she said finally. "You come from nothing, you bring scandal, and now you've divided my family." "I divided your family?" Phoebe felt rage building in her chest. "Miho made me a bet. He used me. He treated me like an experiment for his fetish. And somehow, I'm the one who's not good enough." "That's enough," Juno said, standing beside Phoebe. "Aunt, you need to leave. Don't tell me what to do." "I said leave." Juno's voice was steel. "This is Phoebe's day. You don't get to ruin it with your prejudice and your judgment. If you can't be civil, you're not welcome." Mrs. Kong looked between her nephews. Miho, who was staring at the floor, and Juno, who met her gaze without flinching. Something shifted in her expression. "So you choose her over your family." "I choose treating people with decency over blind family loyalty," Juno corrected. "If you can't see the difference, that's your problem, not mine." Mrs. Kong turned on her heel and left, the door slamming behind her. The room erupted in murmurs. "I'm sorry," Miho said into the awkward silence. "I shouldn't have come. I just wanted—" He looked at Phoebe, and there was genuine pain in his eyes. "I wanted to be part of this, of her life. But I always make things worse." He turned to leave. "Miho, wait." Phoebe surprised herself. "You can stay. Just behave." The rest of the party was stilted at first, but gradually people relaxed. Phoebe opened gifts, tiny clothes, stuffed animals, a beautiful crib from Amma, a designer diaper bag from a client. When she got to Miho's gift, she hesitated. "Open it," he urged quietly. Inside was a custom-made hanbok for a baby girl. Traditional Korean dress, but modified with modern sensibility and the finest silk. It was exquisite. "For Abina," Miho said, "so she can know her Korean heritage." "It's beautiful," Phoebe admitted, running her fingers over the delicate fabric. "Thank you." Juno's gift was last. He handed her a small box, looking almost nervous. Inside was a delicate gold bracelet sized for a baby, with 3 charms: a heart, a letter A, and a tiny pair of wings. "The heart is for love," Juno explained. "The A is for Abina, and the wings are because I hope she grows up to be as brave as her mother, to fly fearlessly into whatever life she chooses." Phoebe burst into tears. "Damn hormones. I love it," she sobbed. "I love you." The words hung in the air. She'd said it before in private moments, whispered it during intimate nights, but never publicly, never in front of all these people, never in front of Miho. Juno pulled her close, careful of her belly. I love you too, he murmured against her hair. When Phoebe looked up, Miho was gone. His gift remained, but he'd slipped out quietly while everyone was distracted. Should I go after him? She asked Juno. No, let him process. He knew this was coming, that you and I were serious. Hearing you say it just made it real. The party continued, but Phoebe's mind was elsewhere. She felt guilty, which was ridiculous. She hadn't done anything wrong. She'd moved on, found happiness, built a new relationship. That was healthy, normal. So why did she feel like she'd just broken Miho's heart all over again? Later that night, back at the apartment, Phoebe couldn't sleep. At 30 weeks pregnant, comfortable sleeping positions were increasingly rare, but it wasn't just physical discomfort keeping her awake. What's wrong? Juno asked, pulling her against him as best he could with her belly in the way. I keep thinking about Miho. The look on his face when I said I love you. He'll survive. He's a grown man. I know, but... Phoebe shifted restlessly. He's Abina's father. I don't want him to hate me. He doesn't hate you. He loves you. That's his problem. Juno stroked her hair. But that's not your responsibility, Phoebe. You can't manage his feelings. You can only be honest about yours. When did you become so wise? I've always been wise. You just didn't notice because you were too busy being dazzled by my brother. Phoebe elbowed him gently. Cocky. Confident. He corrected, kissing her shoulder. There's a difference. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Miho. I'm sorry about my aunt. And I'm sorry I left. The hanbok. If you don't want it, I understand. Phoebe typed back. The hanbok is perfect. Abina will wear it. Thank you. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, I meant what I said. I want to be a good father. Even if I can't be anything else to you, you can be her father. You can be my friend. That's enough. Is it? Phoebe stared at the question for a long moment. Was friendship enough? Could they really co-parent peacefully when Miho was still in love with her? It has to be, she finally typed. For Abina's sake. No response came. Phoebe set down her phone and curled into Juno's warmth. Everything okay? He murmured sleepily. Yeah, just Miho being... Miho, want me to talk to him? No, this is between us. Phoebe put Juno's hand on her belly. Feel that? She's awake. They lay there in the dark, feeling Abina kick and roll, and Phoebe let herself imagine the future. Bringing her daughter home to this apartment. Juno making midnight bottles while she recovered from childbirth. Miho coming for scheduled visits, hopefully without drama. Could work. It had to work. Because ready or not, Abina was coming soon. The next morning brought unexpected news. Phoebe was at her boutique, reviewing fabric samples for her fall collection, when her phone exploded with notifications. Dispatch had released another story. Kong Miho spotted at mystery woman's apartment. Moving on from baby mama drama, the photos showed Miho entering a high-rise building in Cheongdam-dong at midnight, leaving at 6 a.m., clearly wearing the same clothes. The implication was obvious. Phoebe stared at her phone, feeling nothing. No jealousy, no anger. Just a vague sense of sadness that this was newsworthy. You okay? Amma asked, reading over her shoulder. Yeah, actually, I am. Phoebe set down her phone. Good for him. He should move on. Really? You're not even a little jealous. Of what? I have what I want. She touched her belly. I have my baby, I have Juno, I have my business. Miho deserves to be happy too. Wow. Look at you being all mature and shit. Phoebe laughed. Don't sound so surprised. Her phone rang. Juno. Did you see? I saw. It's fine. Are you sure? Because I can. Juno. Phoebe smiled. I'm sure. Let him live his life. We're living ours. I love you. I love you too. But later, alone in her apartment, Phoebe found herself looking at the ultrasound pictures on her fridge. Abina's profile, her tiny hands, the curve of her spine. In just a few months, she'd be here. Real and breathing and dependent on Phoebe for everything. Was she ready? Could anyone really be ready? Her phone buzzed. A text from Miho. I know you saw the news. It's not what it looks like. Phoebe almost didn't respond. Then, You don't owe me explanations about your dating life. I wasn't dating her. She's my therapist. That stopped Phoebe short. You're in therapy? Started 2 weeks ago. Trying to work through everything that happened. Everything I did. Trying to be better. That's really good, mijo. I'm proud of you. I want to be a good father. A good person. For Abina. And for myself. Phoebe felt something soften in her chest. You will be. You're already trying, which is more than a lot of men do. Can we have coffee this week? Talk about custody arrangements, birth plan, all the practical stuff? Sure. Wednesday afternoon? Perfect. Thank you, Phoebe, for giving me a chance. After the conversation ended, Phoebe sat for a long time, hand on her belly. Maybe this could work after all. Maybe they could actually co-parent like adults, support each other without the toxicity. Maybe her daughter could grow up with 2 parents who loved her, even if they didn't love each other. It wasn't the fairy tale she'd once imagined. But maybe it was better. Real instead of perfect. Honest instead of idealized. Maybe it was exactly what they all needed. Wednesday's coffee meeting with Miho was surprisingly productive. They met at a quiet cafe in Samcheongdong, the same one where she'd first met with Juno months ago. The irony wasn't lost on her. Miho looked different. Calmer somehow. Less polished, more genuine. He'd let his hair grow slightly longer, and there were shadows under his eyes that suggested he wasn't sleeping well. Thank you for meeting me, he said, ordering them both drinks. Ginger tea for her without asking, which she appreciated. We need to figure this out before Abina comes. I don't want to be scrambling after she's born. They spent 2 hours going over everything. Where she'd deliver? Samsung Medical Center. The best maternity ward in Seoul. Who would be in the delivery room? Phoebe hadn't decided yet. How soon after birth Miho could visit? Immediately, as long as Phoebe was comfortable. The custody schedule for the first year? Flexible. Focused on breastfeeding and Phoebe's recovery. I want to be there, Miho said suddenly. When she's born. In the delivery room. If you'll let me. Phoebe hesitated. I don't know. That's really intimate. She's my daughter too. Please, Phoebe. Let me be there for her first breath. What about Juno? The question hung between them. Miho's jaw tightened. But when he spoke, his voice was steady. Juno's your partner. If you want him there instead, I understand. But Phoebe, I'm asking you, let me be there as her father. Let me cut the cord, hold her first. Give me that. Phoebe thought about it. She'd been assuming Juno would be her support person, the one holding her hand through labor. But Miho was right, he was Abina's father. He deserved to be part of her birth. What if you both come? She heard herself suggest. Juno as my support, you as Abina's father. Different roles, both important. Miho looked surprised. You'd let us both be there? Why not? We're all going to be in Abina's life. Might as well start as we mean to go on. That's very generous. It's practical, Phoebe corrected. And it's what's best for her. They talked for another hour about names, officially Abina Mina Mensakong, about what values they wanted to instill, kindness, courage, independence, about how to navigate holidays and birthdays. I never thought we'd be here, Miho said as they prepared to leave, planning a life apart while raising a child together. Neither did I, but here we are. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't made that bet? If I'd just been honest from the beginning? Phoebe considered it. Sometimes, but I can't live in that what if. This is our reality now. I really did fall in love with you, you know? It wasn't all fake. I know. And she did know. She'd seen real feeling in his eyes, real tenderness in his touch. The bet had started as a game, but somewhere along the way, it had become real for him. But by the time you realized it, you'd already destroyed any chance we had. Yeah. Miho stood, gathering his things. For what it's worth, I'm glad you found Juno. I hate it, but I'm glad. You deserve someone who treats you right from the start. After he left, Phoebe sat alone with her tea, processing. They'd just had the most adult, productive conversation she'd ever had with Miho. Maybe therapy was working. Maybe he really was changing. Or maybe impending fatherhood was forcing him to grow up. Either way, it gave her hope. Hope that they could make this co-parenting thing work. Hope that Abina could grow up in a loving environment, even if it was unconventional. Hope that maybe, just maybe, everything would be okay. That evening, Phoebe told Juno about Miho being in the delivery room. Are you sure? Juno asked carefully. That's a lot to manage. Labor, my brother, all of it. I want you both there. You as my partner, him as her father. Can you handle that? Juno was quiet for a moment. Watching my brother witness the birth of his child with the woman I love? No, I can't handle that. It's going to kill me. Phoebe's heart sank. But, Juno continued, I'll do it anyway, because you asked, because it's right, because Abina deserves to have her father there from the beginning. He pulled Phoebe close. I can survive one day of discomfort if it means starting her life off right. Have I mentioned that I love you? Once or twice, but I never get tired of hearing it. They spent the evening nesting. Juno assembling the crib they'd bought, Phoebe washing tiny clothes and arranging them in drawers. It felt domestic and perfect and nothing like the future she'd imagined 6 months ago. But it was hers. They'd built it together piece by piece, out of the wreckage of what came before. And in 3 months, they'd add a tiny person to their unconventional little family. Phoebe couldn't wait.
Hello besties, what would you do if you are Minho? Stay tuned for the last episode because it's gonna be a banger. Kindly like, subscribe and share.